Aloha, everyone. My name is Vera Galaxy with the I Want Tofu Vegan Dating Podcast. I'm here with Sarina Farr, born vegan, TEDx speaker, and also just recently threw a whole entire vegan festival called Thrive Alive. Welcome, Sarina.
Thank you, Vera. Looking forward to this interesting conversation.
You want to tell me anything else about yourself?
I've been vegan my entire life. Go by Born Vegan online. So lots of experience with everything in being vegan in a non-vegan world.
Beautiful. Okay, well, I'm going to have a few questions for you today. What is your favorite vegan comfort food?
Lasagna, probably. Yeah, a good lasagna with layered with some good vegan cheese in there.
Okay. How has it been dating as a vegan in the non-vegan world?
Um, it has been very interesting. I've been on and off the dating apps the last few years, and the vegan and non-vegan dating apps. And I can summarize it with probably one sentence, which is triggering lots of meat eating, fragile male masculinity. It's been more than that, of course, but I could tell a lot of stories about the dating interactions I've had on the dating apps. And I've gone through periods where I've thought like, oh, let me make that more subtle. Like I want to just get to know someone first so I don't put, vegan right in my profile. And then other times I'm like, fuck this. This is who I am. This is what I do. This is my life. So if someone's going to be bothered or triggered by that, I'm putting it right up front and literally saying like swipe left if you can't handle this. I've tried things, iterations of like it's more subtle, like swipe left if you enjoy hunting and fishing for fun. So it's like not ruling, like I'm willing to go on a date with someone who's not vegan,
Mhm.
but get the bigger picture of where your ethics are at, or if you're going to be someone that's bothered by my veganism, my vegan activism. So it's been I've tried a lot of different things, and obviously nothing has worked yet.
Okay, tell me about your time on vegan dating apps.
I've also had a lot of interesting interactions on those. I think vegans as a whole are a very interesting group of people. Um, yeah, I remember one, this is just a sample of some of the interesting interactions I've had. I remember one where I started talking to someone and we ended up having like a phone call. And very quickly into that phone call, this person ends up saying, have you heard the term or do you know what a vegan sexual is? And I'm like, no, what's a vegan sexual? And he goes on to describe that a vegan sexual is someone who's only attracted to other vegans. And I'm like, okay, I mean, in the long run, that is me. I know that I only want to be in a relationship or living with or getting married to someone that is who is also vegan. I could not do that with someone who's not. Um, so I'm like, okay. And then he goes on to say, well, I'm a vegan sexual. And I'm like, what is that? And he says, a vegan sexual is someone that is only attracted to vegans who are only attracted to vegans. And then he proceeds to ask me, have you been out on dates with non vegans and would you date someone? And I said, yes. And he's like, great, then I'm not attracted to you.
Oh my God. Great. No.
So, yeah, FYI, vegan sexual are a thing, apparently. I've also met a lot of cool people
Mhm.
on the dating apps as well, just that haven't gone anywhere.
Which
But
ones have you tried?
the apps in general, the vegan apps,
Everything.
everything.
Everything vegan dating.
Cupid, Hinge, Bumble, Vegly. Yeah, I think those are the main ones. And I think I've been on I've tried a Jewish dating app too. I think I was also tried like a health freedom dating app for a little while as well. So tried a couple of others.
Okay, okay. What has your experience been like with dating non-vegans?
I have been on a lot of dates with a lot of non-vegans, especially, living here in Kansas. If I could only date vegans, I absolutely would. But as someone who would like to meet someone and lives in Kansas, I realize my pool is a little bit smaller. So I go on the apps and I'm perfectly fine going out on a date, even getting to know someone going on several dates, as long as if it, becomes serious, they start moving in a vegan direction or even up front, they have to appear open-minded to that. They have to not be triggered or bothered by my veganism. But yeah, I have gone on dates. I even went on a date actually with a hunter once. That was a poor choice, we'll say. That was, I think, during COVID, and we met, and like, a lot of people during that time weren't even willing to go on dates. And so I met someone and we connected over the fact that we were both willing to basically go out on a date or meet up and weren't like afraid to do that during that time. And I've had a bad habit, like I get into intellectual sparring matches, debates, and I like sometimes it's easy for me to hang out and spend time with people where we can easily debate and argue back and forth. And so I think this guy and I knew right away we had very different values. But at first, it seemed like he was pretty open and able to debate differences because some people will just see the difference and run away or not want to talk about it. And so I do like when people give me a hard time, push back, we can kind of debate and argue. And so this guy could. And for the most part at first, it actually seemed kind of flirty and fun. And then we actually go out on a date in person. And I also told him up front, this is one of the things I do when I go on dates with non-vegans. I'm very clear at this point that my boundary is I'm not going to sit at a table with you on a date if you're going to order animal products, meat, dairy, eggs, any of that. And so the ways I approach that different ways. Sometimes I just suggest a vegan restaurant. We don't have to have the conversation on the first date. It's just, not even an option. Other times, if they're suggesting a non-vegan restaurant, or, I will sometimes explicitly say before a date, like, hey, happy to go out, just so like it grosses me out, or I don't want to sit at the same table on a date with someone eating animal products.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll make it light and funny and be like, you're not getting a kiss if you're eating, but like I try to communicate that. Either I try to set up a situation where that's not necessary to communicate, or I communicate that beforehand. And that's kind of a boundary that I've set at this point. At So I told this guy that up front, and we went out to like an outdoor rooftop bar for drinks. The plan wasn't even food, and sometimes I used to do drinks, or I'd like avoid even food situations as another way of getting around it. Because I've gone back and forth between, do I just want to come out and say it? Other times, would I rather at least go on one date without having that conversation? I've tried different things. So I'm upfront with this guy and I tell him that. And we go out to this bar and he sits down and he's like, oh man, I'm really hungry, and starts looking at the menu. We chose this place for drinks, not food. I don't think there was like anything vegan there. There might have been, I think there were fries. I think there were, yeah. I think there were fries. And he is literally looking at the menu and he's like, man, that steak looks so good. And I literally look at him and I'm like, if you order a steak, like, I'm gonna leave. And he sat there and literally contemplated it for so long and was like, oh, but it looks so good. Are you seriously like it's gonna bother you that much? And I was like, there's potatoes if you're hungry. And then he proceeded to try and start an argument with me about ecology and hunting. And at this point, it was no longer fun or flirty in any capacity. It was just a full on debate. And I was like, if you actually think this is the way to do anything or get anyone, like, you know. So I'm sitting there and I try and shut it down at this point. I'm like, I don't it was okay if it was fun and flirty, but I don't want to just have a full on debate about hunting right now. And I literally tell him, I'm like, if you think you're going to change my mind by debating this, I said, I'm not. I'm solid in what I believe. Let's just change. I was trying everything to change the topic. He is doubling down, trying, but this, but don't you? And I'm like, dude, what are you doing? I think I lasted 45 minutes.
45 minutes.
And then made an excuse and left. So after that, I changed my dating profiles on the non-vegan apps to say that was what made me say I need at least some similar shared values, and I absolutely can't go out with a hunter. And so then I changed one of my prompts was if you enjoy killing animals for fun via hunting and fishing, swipe left.
Hey, that will do it to you. Yeah.
Yeah.
You are much stronger than me. 45 minutes? It'd take 5 minutes and I'd be like, gotta go. Okay. Can you describe your most awkward vegan dating?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
So the short version of this is best described as I went on a date with a vegan guy who knew and talked about my mom, but didn't realize she was my mom.
Tell me more.
So I had been away at college and then living in some other cities for a couple years. And my hometown it's in Kansas here. It's a smaller college town. And so it's got a little bit of that small town, like people kind of know each other. And I grew up there. I went to high school there and had done activism, vegan activism, and my mom was a big vegan activist as well. We had a couple family friends we did stuff with, but when I left for college, I knew and was very confident that I knew certainly any vegan activist in the city. If anybody was doing vegan activism, my family or I would have known them. And honestly, and I don't know if this was fully true, but I also kind of thought that I probably knew all the vegans at that time. And this was quite a while ago when there weren't as many vegans yet. And so I figured I would have known if there were any vegan events or potlucks or anything, even not activisty, just vegan community stuff. I
Yeah.
expected I would know. So I leave for, a couple years college and I'm away. And so it was a summer, a couple years later when I was back in town. And I was on a dating app and I think it was OkCupid or something, a normal one, but where you could see dietary preferences or something. And so I saw that this other guy had vegan listed and was local. And so we start talking and I'm like, oh my God, another vegan in my hometown. Like, this is shocking to me. And so we talk for a while and then we meet up and we go on a date. Very quickly into the date, I realize there's nothing there and I am
No
definitely,
compatibility.
definitely not interested. But I am at this place where I'm like looking for community and friends and I'm thinking like any other vegan in town is a connection that I, want to have. And so I don't just obviously leave or walk away and I'm being friendly. And I start asking him like if he knows any other vegans in town. And he says something about he has these potlucks with friends. There's a few other vegans at him. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. And I'm thinking maybe this guy, because I've been away, is tapped into a whole community of younger vegans that are like my age instead of my parents' age. And then I think I start asking him if he knows any other vegan activists specifically, or if any of the vegans that he's met or in his community are activists. And he goes, no, not really. There's this one woman I know. And I'm like, oh, like, tell me more about her. And he starts describing her a little bit and as something like, yeah, this older, I don't think he used the word crazy, but he goes, this really out there older woman that's always doing stuff. The minute he even says those words, I'm thinking like, who is out there doing vegan activism in Lawrence? And previous to this, my mom had stirred up a bunch of controversies and dramas, not even doing anything that was really outrageous, but there's a lot of it's a very big local farming community. People are very into backyard farming, raising and killing their own animals. They're very into that. And so my mom was blogging about that and explaining that just because something is local or organic doesn't, make it ethical or better. She was calling out some of the practices at the local co-op. Like, she was kind of doing activism specifically targeting the local community. Very kind, like blogging. Like, it's not like she was disrupting or stealing animals or, anything along those lines. She was literally just blogging or handing out leaflets. But in this kind of small town vibe, that made her pretty out there, a bit of an outcast and disliked by a lot of the older hippie community that were very into raising and killing their own animals and viewed that as a more sustainable, regenerative thing. And so she had lost a lot of friends in that kind of older hippie sustainability community because she was the vegan and they were sort of honestly anti-vegan and promoting and encouraging people to get into animal agriculture. So that's the backstory here. So this guy goes, yeah, this really out there older vegan woman. And I'm like, okay, that's probably my mom. So this guy says this, and I'm already thinking, like, this sounds like my mom. But because all of this stuff had just happened, where I knew there were people in the community that didn't like her, she'd gotten kicked out of this farmer's market, this seed fair. She got fired from a job teaching vegan cooking classes because she was viewed as too radical for criticizing like meat and dairy at the store. Like, a bunch of stuff had happened that I think was actually outrageous towards her for like literally doing nothing but education. and sharing leaflets and writing about stuff. So all this had happened. And so I was very curious since I could tell this guy um, didn't seem to have the most favorable view of my mom, even though he said he was vegan. I'm thinking like, "Ooh, let me get the inside scoop. What are people saying about my mom?" So I don't let on at first that I think this is probably my mom
Yeah.
he's talking about. And I go, "So like, what is it that people don't like about her? What is it that's too radical or out there, you know?" And I start asking, and I'm like expecting some deep insight, like what is it that I don't get that
Yeah.
people are saying? And he literally comes back with kind of what I'd, expect. And he goes, well, she's like telling people that eating animals is violent. And I was sitting there thinking, yeah, and like that's bad because, and he couldn't even come up with anything other than like, she's just really radical and kind of judgmental and pushy and like very opinionated. Like that's the worst he could come up with. So I'm thinking like, well, that wasn't helpful. Like I didn't get any inside info. Like that's just a triggered generic non-vegans not liking what they're hearing thing. And so I'm sitting there, but now I'm just curious now, like, want to verify that it's probably my mom he's talking. I'm like 99% sure. And so I just dig a little more, and I'm like, oh, and what was her name? Or oh, do you know? And he goes, I don't know. I could probably figure it out if you want. And then I sit there and I go, oh, I'm pretty sure that's my mom you're talking about. And he freezes and like his mouth drops open because he's just like said a bunch of shit about why he basically doesn't like my mom. And he freezes and he starts backpedaling. He goes, I'm sure your mom is a lovely, lovely person.
So good.
So yeah, that was probably one of my most awkward vegan dates. And I will say, I think I realized later this guy probably wasn't like truly an ethical vegan because he
Mhm.
also, I later saw, had a shirt or bumper stickers that said something like liberate chickens, buy free range. So that's probably why. So I think he was a plant-based eater for like mostly environmental reasons, but still was okay with like backyard eggs, was very in that sustainability regenerative ag community. And that's why he had this negative view of my mom because that's the community he was part of and didn't seem
Mhm.
to really actually care about animal rights or the ethical vegan perspective.
Yeah. Would you have ever thought that your mom would have an effect on your vegan dating life?
Absolutely not. That I was like, I was like, I'm never dating in this town again. Get me the hell out of here. That was a reiteration of this is a small fucking town because I'm on a date with one vegan who I've never met before, and somehow we're talking about my mom. Yeah.
Let's switch it up. So, dream first date. Like either, okay, imagine you are with another vegan and you
Hmm.
get to pick any place ever. Where would you guys go?
Dream first date. Hard to say because I just feel like it takes more than a first date to like really be romantic and,
Okay,
get into
think,
something.
think of a first date and then we'll go back and be like, you guys gone on a couple of dates.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
So I'd probably say like a picnic though,
Mhm.
like a whole bunch of delicious fresh fruit or like maybe he makes or cooks some vegan food and like really impresses me and we go outside and take a little bit of a walk in a park or a naturey area, have a cute little picnic and then maybe be goofy and I don't know, climb trees or play an outdoor game, do something fun and active
Yeah.
to like, yeah.
Okay. Now that you've had this dream first date, and you guys gone on a couple of more, where would you
Feel like um to some kind of community fun outdoor event that involves like bonfires and good food and
go? Nice.
music, like something where maybe we can like dance to some live music outside or
Ecstatic dancing.
I don't feel like an ecstatic dance is a good date because you're not like
That's
talking.
true. Okay. Valid.
Yeah, so more of like a live music concert, but outdoor type of thing, or a bonfire situation, something where you can like kind of hang out and talk, but maybe also move and dance and have fun.
Creative.
Yeah.
I read a pause.
Okay.
You mostly want it to. We done awkward. But how has your lifestyle shaped the way you view relationships and what qualities matter most in a partner? How has your lifestyle as a vegan shaped the way you view relationships?
That was a deep question. I mean, my lifestyle has shaped the way I view everything. Like, I really can't, especially because I've grown up vegan. It has shaped.
Your parents are
And I, grew up hearing the story of my parents who my mom went vegan before meeting my dad and was a, already kind of a diehard ethical vegan and activist. But she'd never met another vegan in real life. And so the idea of marrying one wasn't even like on her mind. And so she met my dad and basically convinced him to agree to raise us vegan and keep the home vegan. So I've heard this story of like my mom dating in the Midwest as a vegan. It was like she didn't even imagine that she'd have a vegan partner ever. But growing up vegan, going to vegan conferences and events, meeting other people, I have every expectation that I will be with someone who's vegan. Going back to that vegan sexual comment, to a point, I kind of see that. Like, I genuinely don't think I could ever fall in love with someone that wasn't vegan because it's such an ick. It's such a gross factor to me. And this is such a core value of mine. So while I'm happy to get to know someone, go on dates, talk for a while, I think if we continue to get to know each other and they don't make moves or don't seem open-minded or interested in eventually going vegan, I probably won't continue to be interested. I was joking with another friend a couple years back where when we hear someone is no longer vegan or doesn't want to go vegan, it's like our uterus is just close up. It's just like, oops, nope. That was the way a friend described it. And I was like, kind of accurate.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that makes sense. Okay. What qualities are you looking for in your what matters most?
Yeah. Someone being a good listener and genuinely open-minded is very important to me. Like someone who's interested in listening, learning, growing as a person, continuing to grow and not just like staying static in any aspect of their life. Like personal growth and open-mindedness to learning new things. Huge value for me, as is being health-minded, like someone who really values their health, eating healthy, being physically active, mental health, but really prioritizes their personal health and well-being and wants to live a long, happy, healthy life. Yeah, and I know even in the vegan community, not everyone, like people are
Junk food is real.
absolutely. And I love sharing some good vegan junk food and traveling. Like that's absolutely something I enjoy. But if you're like straight up someone who's like, fuck health and I'm just here for the animals and I like that,
Yeah, not the vibe.
not the vibe. Like I want someone who really prioritizes their health. I find it sexy when someone is healthy and fit and wants to be their best self and healthiest self. So yeah, open-minded, growth-oriented, health-focused, good listener. And also, I'd say at the same time, like knows what they want. Like if you don't know what you want or where you're going in life, if you don't have any kind of drive or ambition or goals or something you want to achieve or make of your life. So yeah, I definitely think and doesn't have to be like in a traditional, you know, climbing the corporate ladder job by any means. It's you want to start your own off-grid homestead or have a passion for writing or anything, but like you kind of know what you want in life and are driven you have some type of purpose, your purpose and you want to make the most of your life.
I hear you. Yeah, for sure.
And let's see, I'll add one other to this. This isn't, it's probably lower on the list, but still there. And that would be a level of critical thinking and living outside the system.
Okay.
So, like, if you love the system, whether that is our government, economy, political system, just kind of like the world as is, and you think the system in general is working and good, if you don't have any ounce of like kind of alternative thinking, like let's do our own thing. Let's create a new, different way of living or being in the world. Let's question everything from existing schools, curriculums, political systems, politicians. Like, if you don't have some level of like outside the box thinking or at least even openness to that, we're probably not meant to be.
It's good to know. No meat, all meat. Is swallowing semen vegan? Why or why not?
Oh my god. Man, that was the hot topic in high school.
Yeah.
People find out I'm vegan and they'd be like, "So is swallowing vegan?"
What did you say?
Um, well, young high school me didn't even know what they were talking about because I was so naive. Um, but my answer now is yes, absolutely, because it's all about consent. Veganism fundamentally is about consent and not, we can't consensually kill non-human animals. They can't tell us they're okay with that.
Yeah.
When we kill them, steal their milk, take their babies away, we're violating their basic fundamental right to bodily autonomy. But people love to ask us about breast milk. Like, oh, you were breastfed, so you're not really vegan. It's like, no, that's really stupid because my mother was consensually feeding her own child, not stealing the milk of another being that couldn't consent. And so swallowing is the same. If it's consensual, if it's not consensual, then no, it's not vegan. Hopefully it's consensual. If it's consensual, it's vegan.
We're pretty much coming up towards the end of our podcast together. Do you have any dating advice for vegans going?
Um, be your authentic self. I do this in my own dating life and I tell friends this. Like, I don't think it's good to hide your vegan values. And I think if someone is triggered by it or can't accept you for that, and you have to be worried about their feelings, they're not for you. Drop that.
Yeah, for sure. Do you have a future message for your future vegan partner?
Yeah. Um, hit me up.
You heard it here first, folks. Sarina, vegan, single. Highly recommend.
Oh my god.
We can cut that. We can cut whatever you don't like. We're pretty much gonna be at the end of this. This is all. I don't think I have anything else.
I don't know if I should say.
Wait, say what? Hit me up? You don't want that one? I love that one. That's great.
Okay, leave it in. That's fine.
Okay.
It's just really, I've never done anything like this. I'm gonna get so many fucking DMs and regret this so much.
Okay, we need to chill out. Thank you so much, Sarina, for being on I Want Tofu. We will be dropping episodes every week, so please tune in. Usually on a Wednesday, maybe a Thursday. We'll see. My name is Rick Galaxy. This was Sarina Farb. Follow us on Instagram at very.galaxy.